natural fit to have a story that was centered around the actual election day in Ontario. Of course, the storyline that we came up with involving Margaret Hale's name not being on the ballot is fictional, but it is true that she won 79 votes in real life, which we think is pretty amazing considering that women couldn't vote. These were 79 men who voted for a female candidate. As far as we know, she was really the first woman to run for office in all of the British Commonwealth. So it's kind of a huge deal and the perfect thing for Grace and Ogden to sink their teeth into.
Good day, Dr. Nesbitt, Mr. Martyr.
Dr. Ogden, whatever are you ladies doing here?
The same as you, gentlemen.
Not quite the same thing. We are here to cast our own votes, after all.
I hear it's to be a tight race today.
Yes, between Mr. Martyr and I. May the best man win.
A lot of, obviously, female fans have been really receptive to the story. A lot of them have always said that they found Dr. Ogden and Dr. Grace women that they look up to, and we do a good job of representing girls and girl power. And I've always felt that way about the characters being such strong-minded, smart, intelligent women, not only for the time period, but in general.
I love the fact that we had this really long arc of the suffragette story, because if it just popped in for one episode, we could never really have seen the outcomes and how difficult it was. And so I'm just really proud that they decided to do that.
Good morning, Margaret. It's a fine day to make history, Lillian.
Margaret, I don't know what happened. One of our supporters just told me that your name isn't on the ballot.
How can that be? I'll telephone Clara Brett Martin.
My very first day of work on Murdoch Mysteries in season 5, I walked in and said, there was a lady lawyer, and her name was Clara Brett Martin, and she was the first female lawyer, certainly in the British Commonwealth. So finally this year we had the perfect place for her with, our band of suffragettes. She just fit in perfectly. She, in real life, actually did campaign for Margaret Hale, which is a really neat fact. So we have all these strong women in Toronto history who really did know each other and really did work together to try to break those barriers. It was a lot of fun to work on the suffragette storyline, especially as a woman and one of the female writers in the writer's room. I really had a great time getting into the background of all of that and learning about the suffragette movement at the time. And the fight was far from over. There was a lot more work for them to do back in 1902, and since women in Canada didn't get the vote until 1917, I'm sure there's a lot more struggle for Ogden and Grace to pursue in the coming years.
Didn't I see you this morning? You've already voted. Constable, this man is attempting to vote illegally.
Well done, Emily.
We are in Brantford in front of the beautiful Carnegie Library. It's a lovely spot with a beautiful park, great for fans to sit and partake in all the action.
We're in Brantford, Ontario. It's about an hour west of Toronto. So the Carnegie Building is a true gem in downtown Brantford. Andrew Carnegie was an American industrialist and philanthropist, and he had a lifelong interest in public libraries and self-education. So in 1902, the city of Brantford actually requested $30,000 to build the library. The building itself is one of the few remaining Carnegie libraries of such size and expense, and it's right here in the city of Brantford. Brantford has a very rich heritage district. A lot of people come here for downtown walking tours, and they will see the Victoria Heritage Park and the various monuments throughout the downtown core. We're also known as the Telephone City for Alexander Graham Bell. His homestead is here in Brantford. The Sanderson Centre for the Performing Arts is a beautiful, fully restored theatre. It opened originally in 1919. The auditorium is completely authentically restored to its 1919 glory. Also downtown is the Brantford Farmers Market. It's open on the weekends and on Thursdays, and there's lots of local food there that's really good. There's also the Grand River. It is a Canadian heritage river. You'll find people kayaking and canoeing along it, and along the Grand River is our trail system. We have over 70 kilometers of groomed trails that connect us to Port Dover, Hamilton, Kitchener, Waterloo. We're known as the hub of Ontario trails for that reason.
What are you doing here, Myers?
The much more compelling question is, what are you doing here, Murdoch?
I'm investigating the death of one Plantagenet McCarthy.
Plantagenet McCarthy is dead?
Terrence Myers, back amongst us. I love Peter. I love hanging out with him. We always have a laugh. I love working with him.
It's always fun to have Terrence Myers on the show. Last year we had a very serious story with Myers where he was implicated in a murder in The Spy That Came Up from the Cold. And this year we thought we'd just reset him and take him back to the kind of nefarious skullduggery that he's so good at and so well known for on our show.
I think this is about the 6th or 7th time I've done Terrence Myers. What I always tried to do was chattel James Bond to try to be uber cool, but he's obviously not, because he doesn't always get it right, and he screws up.
He exposed himself precisely to hide himself. Some things you have yet to learn, Inspector.
Brackenreed always gets a bit relegated. He's never really sure what's going on. And Terence Myers plays him with such droll aplomb that it's really good. But it always gets a bit like Smiley's People, you know, like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and I'm always out of the loop, really.
I think my character's job is always to make it look more complicated than it really is, perhaps. And with the right amount of sleuthing, aka Murdoch, they always seem to get it right at the end.